There's no change atop our MLB Power Rankings this week. Phillies still at number 1 despite some recent injuries, of course, to Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber. Yankees are out of the top 5 as they continue to slide in the AL East standings. The champs represent the biggest risers, up 5 spots to inside the top 20. I'm Tommy Tran, joined by Matt Snyder, who puts our rankings together, and MLB insider Jim Bowden with thoughts and any team news to deliver for us. Guys, great to be with you back here in our weekly slot on Monday. Matt, Milwaukee cracking the top 5. They've got a 5-game lead in the division, and it's led by NL All-Star Christian Yelich. Take us through putting the Brew Crew in your top 5.
Yeah, it's been interesting. Heading into this season, they lost their manager, Craig Counsell, to the Cubs. Corbin Burnes was traded. Devin Williams got hurt. And you kind of thought, man, how are they going to piece this thing together? But they've been amazing basically since the start of the season. Christian Yelich, as you said, looking like his MVP self. William Contreras is having a great year. He's also going to be in the All-Star game. They steal bases, man. They're running wild. Bryce Terang on the list. He's a possible All-Star snub along with Trevor McGill, who's filled in admirably for Devin Williams at closer. But this is just a team, man. They fire on all cylinders. They get the job done. They scratch runs across when they need it. They get good starting pitching when they need it. It's we're about 9 games in. You've got to say this is just who they are. They're just a really, really good baseball team at this point.
Yeah, they sure are, Matt. And you pointed to the pitching, and look, they're 4th in the National League in team ERA. That's the story. I talked to General Manager Matt Arnold of the Brewers yesterday. He was really raving about the bullpen and Brian Hudson and Trevor McGill and what they've done. He also gave me the insight that Devin Williams is getting close to return, should happen before the calendar turns to August. So that's also good news for the Brewers. And as you mentioned, Matt, to trade Burnes, to lose Woodruff for the year, to lose Wade Miley to the year, to have Robert Gasser, the young lefty, go on the IL, to have Stephen Ross, who is pitching well, go on the IL, and still to be here, it's remarkable. And let's talk about this rotation you're looking on this graphic. I mean, you've got 4 guys that have kept them in games, and that's the main reason why. And then you have an impact back end of the bullpen. And Pat Murphy, the manager, has done an excellent job running this team under Matt Arnold. So the Brewers are for real. They are the team to beat in the Central. And it's been really fun to watch that pitching staff.
Can't forget about the fighting Pat Murphys right now, getting it done. And it wasn't, remember him at Arizona State way back in the day, not getting it done in the big leagues. All right, so the Brew Crew coming at 5. The Braves are at 6, Matt, and resurgent Chris Sale in search of an MLB best 12th win tonight on the bump.
Yeah, remember that Chris Sale who finished in the top 5 of Cy Young voting every single year, yet he could never win it? I never thought we'd see this version of Chris Sale again, but we're seeing him. In his last 12 starts, he has a 2.16 ERA with 100 strikeouts and only 13 walks. He's as locked in as he's ever been right now. He could actually be the All-Star Game starter. That would be a fun story. I know that there's probably a more fun story, and we'll get to that in a second. But this would mean that Sale would have started an All-Star game in each league. The only guys who have ever done that before: Max Scherzer, Roy Halladay, Roger Clemens, Randy Johnson, and Vida Blue.
And he is pitching against the Diamondbacks tonight. And why do I bring that up? Because Diamondbacks manager Torey Lovullo will make the decision on who starts the All-Star game for the National League. So it'll be interesting to see whether it's Sale or Wheeler or Paul Skenes of the Pirates. What's really separated Chris Sale, though, is his secondary pitches that have been dominant. His wipeout slider, opposing batters are hitting just 164 against that pitch. And his changeup, opposing batters hitting 131 against the changeup. And I think when the Braves lost Spencer Strider, they needed somebody to step up, as Strider, of course, having another Tommy John surgery with the brace. He's out for the year, and Sale stepped up. He's got a wins above replacement at 2.8, and he's the reason right now that the Braves are in a secure place for the first wild card spot.
We'll talk about Skenes and the Pirates in just a second here, but let's get to the team that I teased. The New York Yankees, gentlemen. The slide continues. 15 out of 20 defeats now. Still 7th in Matt's eyes, but as you point out in your power rankings, Snidey, there's still some wiggle room, some variance. Take me through the thought process of how far you might have wanted to put the pinstripes there and ultimately deciding on 7.
Yeah, if you look at overall record and run differential and stuff like that, you could argue that they should be higher. If you look at the way they're playing right now, having gone 5-15 in the last 20 games, you can make the argument that they should be lower. As I was dropping them down, I ran into a wall because I had the Twins at 8. And I was like, all right, the Yankees are 6-0 against the Twins. They've completely owned the Twins for like a generation. So I didn't think I should drop the Yankees lower than the Twins. But man, they need more from Anthony Volpe, from Gleyber Torres, from Alex Verdugo. They'll get Giancarlo Stanton back from the injured list eventually. That should help. But they need a lot more lineup depth. It's right now only Aaron Judge and to a lesser extent Juan Soto. They need much more. Obviously Ben Rice. Ben Rice has been good. He had a 3-homer game over the weekend. But they need more from those guys I mentioned in particular. The rotation needs to be better. Let's see if Garrett Cole can kind of get locked in now as he's come off that injury, as long as he is healthy. They just need to play better. It's as simple as that. They need to play better. They're not playing well at all right now. Like I said, I could argue that this should be higher. You could argue they should be lower, but I kind of thought once I ran into the Twins, I needed to leave them right there.
If you don't pitch, you can't win. And if you don't have starting pitching, then you're going to go 5-15. And if you want to look at this New York Yankee rotation over the last 30 days, let's go through what they've done. Louis Hill has made 6 starts with an ERA of 7. Carlos Rodon has made 5 starts with an ERA of 8.31. Marcus Stroman has made 5 starts with an ERA of 5.06. And then finally, at the back end of the rotation, Garrett Cole, his 5 starts, 6.75 ERA. Look at the board. You're not going to win when that happens. I don't care how many runs you score. You can't pitch, you can't win. Remember, Giancarlo Stanton and Anthony Rizzo are out for the next 6 weeks. When Rizzo comes back, he'll have lost his job to Ben Rice. This kid can really hit, and I love the fact that manager Aaron Boone put him in a leadoff spot. But they need more production from Gleyber Torres and DJ LeMahieu. Brian Cashman, the GM, has been out there working on trades. He has been open to acquiring a second baseman or a third baseman. They do have some positional flexibility on the roster. But this is a team that if they don't get the starting pitching straightened out, they're going to have a tough time making the playoffs, let alone catching Baltimore.
All right, let's get to the Pirates. And Matt, you put on your power rankings Pittsburgh at 20, but you've also called them a very interesting team.
Yeah, they are interesting. They have high-end talent. Jared Jones is on the injured list right now, but he'll be back. With Mitch Keller, Jared Jones, and obviously Paul Skenes, they could put together a very interesting playoff rotation. Obviously, offensively, O'Neal Cruz is one of the most exciting players in baseball. He strikes out too much, doesn't hit for the highest average, but he hits the ball as hard as anybody. It's a very interesting team, especially with Brian Reynolds playing as well as he's been playing recently. I think Paul Skenes should be the All-Star Game starter. I'd be good with Chris Sale. That would be a fun story. But I went through last night and I made my picks and I went with Paul Skenes. You can justify it with the numbers. He's 5-0 with a 2.12 ERA and all those strikeouts, but it's not just about the numbers. We're trying to sell this game. It's an exhibition game. Sell it to the masses. He has an incredibly famous girlfriend who's basically a viral superstar. He was the #1 overall pick last year, #1 overall pick to an All-Star the next season. He's the first pitcher to ever do that. And if you look at the American League, the lineup might be something like Jose Altuve, Juan Soto, Aaron Judge. If you could go Skenes against Altuve, Soto, and Judge in the first inning, that's must-see TV.
And you didn't mention the mustache because he should start this game because of his mustache alone. It's the best mustache in Major League Baseball. He has 2 secondary pitches that nobody can hit. They're hitting 156 against the slider. They're hitting 181 against his slinker, which is a combination of a sinker and a split finger. He's in the 94th percentile in pitching run value, 99th percentile in fastball velocity, 96th percentile in strikeout percentage. Those are just staggering numbers. And over the last 5 starts, he's been the best starting pitcher in baseball, as shown by his 1.39 ERA and 40 strikeouts and 6 walks in 32 1/3 innings. I agree with Matt 100%. He should start the game. Look, I understand the argument in the industry that Sale and Wheeler have made 18 starts compared to Skenes' 10, and the history of those 2 pitchers. Look, I get all that, but you're trying to sell a sport. And right now, the biggest story in Major League Baseball in 2024 in terms of individual players is Paul Skenes. So you got to take advantage of that. And as Matt mentioned, Skenes against Ohtani in the first inning. Let me sign up for that, please.
Learn something new every day. Learned about Paul Skenes' significant other. Jacqueline was letting me know. For a second, I thought it was someone else who went viral and has 1 million Instagram followers.
No, it is not her.
Okay, just making sure. Just making sure. Lastly, we talk about what we're calling the mystery Reds, coming in at 23, back half of the power rankings here. Swept the Yankees, but then getting swept by the Tigers. Matt Snyder, what do we think about Cincy at the moment?
Yeah, they're Jekyll and Hyde, right? Like they've won series against the Dodgers and the Phillies. They swept the Yankees, and then they turn around and do stuff like get swept by the Tigers, who looked awful before that series. So it's look, they have some injuries like Matt McClain, Lodolo, Friedel, Fraley, Encarnacion Strand. They've been banged up all year. They had the suspension to Noelvi Marte. They're overall young team, so some inconsistency is to be expected. But 20 and 26 at home, that's just not going to cut it. This was a team that many expected to contend for a playoff spot. They're 6 games under 500 right now. They should be better, and maybe that we'll see them get hot the second half. But when they do stuff like sweep the Yankees and then turn around and get swept by the Tigers, that's a problem.
Yeah, middle of the road offense, right? 16th in baseball, the 30 teams in runs scored. They're 11th in Major League Baseball in team ERA. And I think the biggest story here is how many players do the Reds have in the All-Star game? They have 1 player. That's it. That tells the story. And that 1 player, by the way, L.A. De La Cruz, is one of the most exciting players in baseball. And when you want to talk about great athletes that ever played baseball, and you want to talk about Jackie Robinson or Deion Sanders or Bo Jackson, please include L.A. De La Cruz in that conversation. Today, he's got 15 homers and 43 stolen bases. He's put up a 3.2 WAR. He's in the 99th percentile in sprint speed. I don't know why he's not in the 100th percentile, to be honest. 93rd percentile in arm strength, 97th percentile in outs above average. He's an exciting, dynamic player. But the Reds team overall just haven't been healthy. Half of the lineup, as Matt was alluding to, has not been there. We haven't seen Matt McClain, their best player from last year, injured the entire season. Encarnacion Strand is out for the year with the wrist problem. Noelvi Marte had the 80-game suspension. His timing isn't back yet. Look, that's half the lineup. So I'm expecting a better second half in August and September from this Reds team. I'm expecting them to get back in the wild card race for the 3rd spot. But right now, it looks like a team that's going to fall short.
Good stuff as always. Jim Bowden and Matt Snyder. Check out Snyder's entire power rankings on CBSSports.com. Take a look at notable MLB games tonight. Outside of Sale, no real interesting pitcher on the bump, in my opinion. And about half of tonight's slate has road team favored on the